maybe you have never paid attention, but the Enderman is not an ordinary mob. It is unlike anything else in Minecraft. It does not travel in packs. It has no home, no spawner, no place to return to when night fades. It stands there at a distance far enough to be ignored watching you. It looks as if it knows exactly who you are, yet cannot bring itself to step any closer. The first time I saw it, I thought it was another strange monster. Tall, pitch black, silent, it did nothing. I walked right past it, and it only stood there, slightly turning its head to track my movement. There was no aggression, no sudden lunge. It was as if it did not want to bother my existence, and hoped I would not bother its either. Then I made a terrible mistake. A mistake almost every player makes. I looked directly into its eyes. In a fraction of a second, everything changed. The sound that erupted was not like any other creature. It was not a roar or a hiss of anger. Instead, it sounded brutally distorted, like an agonizing scream buried for thousands of years. When that static echoed through my headphones, I did not feel fear. Instead, I felt overwhelming discomfort. It felt as if I had recklessly touched a raw nerve never meant to be touched. Then, it teleported right behind my back. It was impossibly fast. I ran, swung blindly, desperately tried to survive, and eventually, I did. But after my health regenerated, I could not forget that haunting gaze. Not because it was terrifying, but because those eyes were devastatingly empty. Why does it attack when you look into its eyes? In a harsh world where everything rushes to kill you immediately, the zombies, skeletons, and creepers, they all attack based on primitive instinct. But the Enderman chooses to avoid you. It does not want you to look at it. It does not want you to perceive it. It does not want you near its space. Yet, strangely, it does not leave either. It just stands there, paralyzed, as if eternally trapped in a place where it fundamentally does not belong. I started paying attention to its behavior. I saw it standing alone in the dead of night. No companions, no pack, no connection to anything breathing. There is only a suffocating silence stretching on so long you feel as though you are staring at a glitch, an anomaly that should not exist. In the overworld, it clearly does not belong. It wanders like a misplaced error. In the fiery nether, it phases through the crimson terrain, never stopping, as if the hellish landscape is too chaotic for its quiet soul. And in the end, the barren dimension where you logically think it belongs, it looks even more profoundly lost. Thousands of Endermen roam there, but none are together. They do not communicate. They do not interact. They share no bond. They simply stand at a great distance from each other, proving that even surrounded by their own kind, they remain completely and hopelessly alone. I began to wonder if the Enderman does not belong to any of these three dimensions, where did it truly come from? There were quiet nights when I would stand very far away just to watch it. I never stepped closer. I made absolutely sure not to look into its eyes. I simply stood still and observed. It would take a step forward and stop. It would pick up a block of dirt, hold it, and then place it down. No purpose. No grand design. No reason whatsoever. It looked like someone desperately trying to do something to feel useful, but who has forgotten what that something is. In that quiet, heartbreaking moment, a feeling washed over me. It felt as if I was looking at a reflection of myself. A reflection that does not speak. A version that does not connect. A version that simply does not belong anywhere. One time I accidentally met its gaze again, but this time I did not run away. I stood perfectly still. Surprisingly, it stood still too. It did not teleport, scream, or attack. It just stood there, silently staring into my soul. In that freezing moment, I realized something I had never considered before. Maybe it does not attack out of rage. Maybe it attacks because it simply cannot bear the agonizing weight of being truly seen. As if the moment you look deeply into its eyes, you violently shatter the very last shield it has left to protect itself, its absolute solitude. And when that fragile wall of isolation is broken, it does not know what else to do except erase the person who broke it. I never knew how long that standoff lasted. It was only a few seconds, but it left a heavy lump in my throat. Then, I slowly looked away, and just like that, it vanished, as if it was never there. But I know it is still out there somewhere, wandering endlessly through this world, drifting between the overworld, the nether, and the end, never truly belonging to a single one. And the one thing I never forget is not the terrifying way it attacks, but the heartbreaking way it exists. All alone, no one to ever call its name, no one waiting for it, no one to remember it when it is gone. And perhaps the saddest truth is not that it is incredibly lonely, but that it has gotten used to it. It no longer searches for anyone. It does not chase companionship. It never tries to stay. It merely exists floating within an endless silence. And sometimes when I log back into my world, standing in a beautiful place I once proudly claimed was mine, my mind drifts back to it. A tall, pitch black, silent creature, standing far enough away, refusing to step closer, refusing to leave, just existing. I realized certain things in Minecraft were never programmed for you to fight. They were programmed so you could see a broken piece of yourself within them. And the Enderman perhaps was never a monster. It is just a lost soul, someone alone for so incredibly long, they forgot what it feels like to have someone standing by their side. And maybe that is exactly what makes it so terrifying. Not because it is strong, not because it is fast, but because in its endless, quiet suffering, it is so much more like us than we could ever dare to admit.